Buckle up, kiddos, because you're about to be in for a wild ride. This is going to be my spoiler-full review of Jordan Peele's Nope. So something I said in my spoiler-free review, and probably something I'm never going to stop harping on about, is I just love Jordan Peele's style of storytelling, where every bit of dialogue, every scene, every cut, everything that is in there has some kind of meaning. It has served some kind of purpose. There is no fillers, no wasted opportunities within them. And the Jordan Peele just has this understanding of the genre and such passion for horror that's absolutely just on display throughout all of his films, and especially within Nope. And I'm really glad this isn't one of those times where everything was spoiled by the trailers, as often happens these days, unfortunately, with horror films. Because although on this surface it may seem like your run-of-the-mill alien abduction, alien encounter style horror film, it most certainly is not. There's definitely a lot more than what it seems. And it wouldn't be a Jordan Peele film without there being a greater message that's being told throughout, besides just the horror that we see on display. It is indeed an absolute spectacle. But in case anybody didn't catch that pun there, that is really one of the major themes of Nope, which is humanity's obsession with the spectacle of life, of trying to be in the limelight, of always trying to monetize and capitalize on every situation, to be on that kind of forefront. And yes, the irony is not lost on me, the fact that I'm actually doing a review of this movie, and the fact that I am a content creator, it pretty much just further kind of proves that point and that message. But it's also very much about the lengths that we're willing to go to, what we're willing to sacrifice, what risks we're willing to take to achieve that goal. Although I love the fact that we had Keith David, it is, and unfortunately they kind of killed him off right from the beginning, but also kind of serves as a grounding point for our two main characters of M and Otis Jr., OJ. And we get to see this familial relationship on display that a lot of people can kind of relate to, where, you know, even though they are family, they are two very much different people. And it's kind of funny how they are throughout the film opposites of one another. And also, as the film progresses, how you kind of see them kind of swap in regards to how they are handling things and how they kind of view things. Like from the beginning, we know that like M is this person who enjoys the grind. She's the one that is, you know, fully involved in the spectacle, enjoys the spectacle, as to where OJ, at least at first, is the person who likes to be more grounded, you know, is trying to get the work done, doesn't really like to be fully involved in all that. This isn't really his life. It's part of his family's legacy, and he cares deeply about it, but he's just trying to just do the work. But then as the film progresses, the roles kind of swap, although at first they're both kind of on the same page of trying to capitalize on this mystery that's happening with this UFO that's there. But it comes to a point where M is just like, nope, just doesn't even want to have anything to do with it. She's like, let's get the hell out of Dodge. This isn't worth it. But no, OJ, he's like, no, we need to see this thing through, because you end up finding out about the family's financial troubles, and he doesn't want to lose the ranch, the horses. He doesn't want to lose the only thing he really has left of his father. He doesn't want that legacy to kind of die out. And that's really, again, part of what's so interesting about these characters and the story that's being told, because again, it's about like the risks involved and what we're willing to give up and so on, where it comes to chasing that dream, chasing that goal, and also just the trauma that's on display and how each of these characters deals with it. And even the supporting characters are so crucial to this story that's being told, because they further play into the cautionary tale. Stephen Yeun's character is an interesting dialogue on how some people deal with trauma, because he's been through an absolutely horrific incident involving Gordy, the chimpanzee that was part of a show that he had starred in, and it was supposed to be well, it was actually a hit, at least for the first season, before the incident happened. And you would think that in most cases, somebody who goes through such a traumatic event would try and shy away from the limelight. They would try and not relive that kind of trauma. But instead, he fully embraces it and almost tries to take ownership of it and tries to go beyond it and even try and profit off of it, which is why you see to the point where he has this ranch where he's trying to make a big spectacle out of it. And you see that he has a deal to where his whole family is going to be in their own reality TV show, and he just never seems to shy away from that Hollywood limelight. And even has a really kind of messed up shrine to this traumatic event, to where other people don't know the full details, but we as the viewers get to kind of see that unfold and him experience it. And that's why I'm a little disappointed, because there's quite a few people that have watched the movie that I've spoken to that seem to miss the point of that scene with Gordy, and they kind of thought that it was kind of pointless, because it didn't. Because again, it further kind of just showed the uncontrollable nature of animals, which we later find out that the UFO itself is an alien being. It is not an actual spaceship. And the fact that it is, as OJ proclaims, an apex predator. It thinks like an animal and it acts like an animal, which is why the only reason why it would ever grab you is if you kind of stare at it in eye. It sees it as being intimidation. It sees it as a challenge to its authority, and also the fact that it's territorial. But that's kind of what we have with the situation with Gordy, is that shows you that you can't really control wild animals. You think you may have control of the situation, but you really don't, and things can just change just like that. But again, that scene is also the set piece, which gives us more depth to Ricky as a character. And it's just really unfortunate that we see that kind of play out to where he thinks he has control of the situation yet again with this alien, which he thinks is a spacecraft, only for it to be his undoing. Now, I myself don't know the full meaning or if there is any real symbolism behind the shoe that's standing straight up. Obviously, it shows that quite a few times on purpose. It might be one of those kind of red herrings that are kind of thrown in there. It might have a deeper meaning. A friend of mine actually mentioned the fact that she believes that it is symbolism of the kind of other foot dropping, the shoe on the other foot dropping, which is ultimately what ends up happening to him in the ranch scene where he and everybody else there gets abducted. It's the horrible thing that has been shadowing over him for the longest time finally coming to pass. Yeah, it's also just so crazy how wrapped up we all get into this thing, and again, the spectacle of life and trying to make even the most mundane things seem so extravagant to where we need to, record and post, and again, irony not lost, and just share it throughout, hoping to where we can capitalize on that. We can make something greater out of it. To the point where there's just other scenes. So we also have Holst, a famous cinematographer. He gets involved. He already has the shot that he needs to prove the fact that aliens exist, but it's not good enough. He wants more. He wants the impossible shot. And so he chases after it, and his hubris ends up being his undoing. Then we have some random person who's been investigating the situation who kind of shows up. A lot of people thought he was going to be some weird CIA guy, but instead he's just the paparazzi. He runs off. He tries to chase to get the great shot, and unfortunately leads to, I hate to laugh, but the scream that he lets out when his motorcycle kind of just flings forward is kind of funny. But he is horribly injured. You see broken bones and everything, and when OJ tries to help him out, he's not even concerned about his own well-being. He's like, you need to get the shot. You need to get, this is like legendary. Again, he was more concerned about the spectacle rather than his own well-being or the well-being of OJ. And it's just that obsession, it's that drive, which is just such a major theme. And of course, there's a lot of other nice little Easter eggs and nods to pop culture and just other things as well, such as the infamous Akira slide that Keke Palmer character M ends up performing near the end of the film. It's just so awesome to see in film, and it's crazy that he was able to pull that off. So yes, there may be some other parts of this film that I'm kind of missing out on. I'm trying to keep this as short as possible, and I tend to ramble on as I already have been. But I absolutely loved this film. It's definitely one of the highlights of 2022. I wouldn't say it's my favorite film of 2022 because what's firmly at the top is Everything Everywhere All at Once, but this absolutely delivers. It just further puts on display that Jordan Peele is one of the greatest modern horror storytellers of his time, and I really look forward to seeing what else he ends up coming up with.